Good afternoon, Internet. I am Matt Booyak, and today I'll be looking at the sixth problem from the Project Euler problem archive. So this problem asks us to find the difference between the square of the sum of the first 100 natural numbers and the sum of the squares of the first 100 natural numbers. And so this problem can be tackled pretty directly. So without further ado, we'll just get right into it. So as usual, we'll copy our template directory to make our problem directory. And then we'll open up our main.cpp. And let's see, we're going to need, say, I, our index, sum, the sum over those integers, and then we'll say sum of squares. And we'll just have a, we will need our upper bound here. We're going to start off with 10, and then later when we actually solve the problem, we'll change that to 100. So we'll go from I equals 0, actually I equals 1 up to I equals n, and we'll say let's initialize our sum and our sum of squares are both going to be 0 to start, and then for each natural number we'll just take that and increment sum and increment sum of squares, of course, by the square of that number. And then it's just a matter of print out our solution here, and we'll say diff is equal to, and then we're going to have, let's see here, the so we have the sum over the natural numbers, and what we want is the square of that. So we're going to have sum times sum minus sum of squares. And let's see, let's actually switch to a split display here, and get our shell back, go into our problem directory, and make. Okay, so that gives us 2,640, and that does match the test input here. Now, before I run it with the full 100 numbers, there is one aspect of software engineering and development that I've been neglecting up to this point, and that's version control. So as you might guess, based on my path here, you can see this GitLab directory here. You might guess correctly that I'll be using Git for my version control. So let's go ahead and set that up. I've already added a new project on the server side on my GitLab. So we just have to go ahead and push what we've created so far up to that repository. So start off with git init. So that just creates an empty Git repository, as it suggests there. And now we're going to connect that repository up to the remote. So we'll say git remote add origin. I believe called that Project Euler .git. Okay. And then we'll say git add everything in the current directory. Actually, one point of caution here, I have a suspicion if we look in our problem 6. Yeah, so Emacs likes to create these backup files that you can see that main.cpp tilde, which we don't really want to add to our Git repository. In fact, we should actually do a little bit of cleanup here. If we, because we really don't want to be checking in our solvers either, and so we should probably go through and if I had created a top level make file and with a clean target, this would be straightforward, but it's going to be a little bit more tedious. I'll just take a brief moment here. Okay, and okay, so the reason I've done this is I really only want to check in the files that aren't build products. And there's a way you can add things specifically to a .gitignore file to prevent them from being checked in. But for now, this will suffice. So now we're going to say git add dot, and so if we check git status, you'll see all of our files are listed as new files to be added to the repository. And so then we're going to do git commit -m, and we'll say initial commit problems 1 through 6. All right, so now if we do git status, we'll see that there's nothing to check in because we just checked in our files. And if we do git log, so this is one thing I might consider changing about my environment is that Git doesn't like being run from inside the Emacs shell. So you have to do git no pager, otherwise it'll complain. Anyway, you can see our initial commit there with the first 6 problems. And so now we're just going to do git push origin master. All right. Okay, so we've checked in our code. Now let's go back to our solution. And we'll ramp that up to 100. Go back to our problem directory. Say make. Run our solver. And we have this number here. Looks like 25,164,150. And so now we can go back to the archive. And that indeed matches the answer. So in the next problem, I'm going to attempt or the next video rather, I'm going to attempt an analytic solution to this problem. So if that sounds interesting to you, check that out.